Hello, hello, my beautiful friends. It's Izabela, and I'll be here to World Messenger, and I just have a quick question. And also, I have a information that I think might help you to start your Monday better and definitely to kick off 2021 with tremendous success. Are you one of those that is experiencing a lot of stressors and pressure? Not necessarily because you have a lot of those going on in your personal life, but more because of other people, or teammates, or leaders in your organization. And as a result, they're negatively affecting you. I've been coaching, training, speaking, doing all kinds of stuff in the last, I would say, 60 to 90 days in multiple different platforms. And common question that comes in when we're talking about leadership strategy, performance, and things that have to do with team dynamics. As we know, everything starts on organizational level, on nuclear level. Who are the leaders? Who has the title? Who has the power? Who is making decision? And how those decisions are being made, right? And then what implication those choices and decisions are having on the team members. What type of team members we have. So many organizations shaved off a lot of extra manpower and woman power in their organization. So it's a lot of gaps. And big question is also, who do we hire back, or what do we need? And without understanding what you already have, where you at, you will not know how and when and what do you need to do in order to really get what you really wanted to get to, because it's kind of like a shooting from the dark, right? And trying to hit the target. A lot of times I'm also seeing one major mistake that is happening is people are throwing in new technologies, and boy, can that get cumbersome without really looking at all the existing systems and understanding where things are headed, so that we really know if we're adding more value or we may overcomplicate and creating more complexities. But more than anything, what I want to talk to you about is importance that I'm seeing simultaneously right now happening amongst the leaders, which is around their specific leadership traits and skill sets. And more than ever, their emotional intelligence and emotional capacity that is combined with their social capacity and social intelligence. Maybe some of those terms not familiar, that is okay, because we're heard, I'm sure, quite a bit about emotional intelligence. But we also know that a lot of people are naturally talented, intelligent, and that is great. They can understand information, they can understand the problem and task in hand. But the issue is how they really behaviorally do with other people. Are they a team member that can really easily navigate change? Are they adding value on daily basis, not only based on their performance, but also how they speak, talk, and who they actually attract, right? Right now, why I'm bringing this up is I'm seeing tremendous shift that is happening simultaneously, guys, with leaders in organizations where they are lacking some of these traits, and they're very, very glaring and very, very obvious. So we need to work on simultaneously in order to develop the team and developing also ourselves as leaders in enterprises, because not only bleeds that within your existing teammates, but bleeds with your customers. So one of the reasons, again, why I'm seeing where the lack of emotional intelligence hinders people is that self-awareness. What we think about self versus what others do, and then truly are we really paying close attention, how we come across energetically, intellectually, but also are we exuding empathy, and how that empathy is being disseminated. Is inclusive for all, or it's just exclusive to some? Also, what are our motivations? What is our drive? Not just because it's a new year, because it's a new challenge and we're trying to solve some problems, but honestly, how we self-regulate so that we can also have this healthy life and business balance, right? That we also can offer to others. Ironically, I'm seeing so many people are trying to do things that and tell others to do that they don't do themselves, or they're not willing to demonstrate with their behavior, which really brings a lot of those really interesting social skills. I'm sure you've been in those situations where the social skills really set you up for success or the failure. And right now, more than ever, we need a combination of emotional intelligence with a social intelligence. So let's see, somebody might have some questions here. Please feel free to chime in, because this is not just a monologue, hopefully, but I wanted to just quickly give you a little teaser and preview of what is coming and why this is important. Because guys, if you're not paying attention right now on your triggers and what is really bugging you and taking full responsibility, you're going to have constant clashing and issues with your team. Doesn't matter, because a lot of times, just because you're charismatic, liked, and somewhat respected, that respect can go very quickly down the toilet if you are not practicing what you preach, and at the same time not working yourself to take your game to the next level as a leader. So what is really happening also is an increased need for very specific social intelligence aspects, which really help us to look at how we are keeping track of our feelings, but also feelings of others, how willing we are to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes, and to understand your viewpoint. Just because it differs from ours, that doesn't mean it's wrong, it's not relevant, and it's not important, right? And then also, really, how do we learn to interpret different people's behavior, and nonverbal specifically, when we're having these really virtual events, when we're in the rooms with hundreds and thousands of people, when we're on the webinars where we can also see people's little small video pictures or whatever. Is a side conversation going? Are they making eye contact? Who is participating? Who is lacking participation? I mean, we have so many things that are very, very evident. But the kicker, guys, is the magic. The leaders that are going to kick ass in 2021 and be tremendously successful, as well as their teammates, are the ones that are going to be exuding naturally their emotional and social intelligence and exuding those competencies. Now, what those competencies look like, let me go in these 4 buckets, specific 4 categories that will help you to really see where do you fit. And I will post this visual so you guys have a better understanding of what I'm talking about, so you can also follow. Purposely, I didn't want to do the PowerPoint or any other visuals during this conversation, because this is just, again, very organic, impromptu, to get you going for a great starter week, but also to get you going in the right track to think about it. How do you fit in your organization, either as a solo entrepreneur, as a small business owner, or the large enterprise? And how do you come across? So self-awareness is number 1, with obviously elements of emotional self-awareness. The other aspect is self-management. I've seen a lot of people taking blame from other people that they shouldn't, but I'm also seeing people exhibiting a lot of behavior that they should take accountability for and responsibility. So it is very essential for self-management to really pay attention. How high adaptability do you have? How well you are navigating change and transformation yourself? Do you exude positive outlook despite whatever is being thrown at you? Can you lift other people up? Are you oriented towards achievement? Because you guys can very quickly, non-verbally, just and energetically pick up somebody who is goal-oriented and success-oriented and wants to remove the obstacles, versus the ones that are constantly pointing out, how about this and what about that, and then list goes on, right? So we have to change that process. But more than anything, emotional self-control. Why self-awareness and self-management are so pivotal? Because they're core aspects of emotional intelligence, guys. And when we hone that, then we can bring and build based on experiences and what we allow ourselves what? Emotional capacity. Some people might be emotionally intelligent, but because of experiences and lack of experiences and not really practicing as much on a daily basis, their capacity threshold can be very small. Like for example, my computer, I completely killed it in terms of adding too many files so quickly. The capacity of my computer had to be either extended or I had to delete a content that I already had. So in the same way, it's like, oh my God, I need extra drive. I need external drive. I actually need to be able to expand and add more. I don't want to delete. All this is very valuable, very important, right? So same thing with us. When we build certain things, we know what those are, what they're important. We need to practice them. We need to utilize them. We need to have access to them. But more we do, more we expand and create a new environment that we can expand into, it's going to give us that emotional capacity that is absolutely crucial if you want to be in 2021 successful and forward. Now let's contrast this with the two elements of social awareness and how this is beautiful and perfect marriage. Because social awareness, it's really, again, empathy. But I always say, you can't be just empathetic without also being kind. And you can't be kind without being compassionate. So when I talk about empathy, I just don't want you guys to get stuck on that, because you have to be in the same time empathetic, compassionate, and kind. When you have those three elements, guess what? You're turning into heart-centered leader that completely understands and comes from this very naturally positive state, that can very easily understand where the people are that are in front of him and what is going with them and how they can help them, how they can put them at ease, how can they give a helping hand, how they can remove the obstacles they may be having and come up with some really great ideas. And as a result, what do you do there? Socially cueing in, you are building trust, you're building your tribe, you're building phenomenal vibe. And what do? You're opening and giving more platform and expansion. And as a result, you're having such a strong, positively charged, committed, passionate team members, partners, vendors, and as well as customers. Because you're going to be starting attracting people like yourself. And that's where magic happens. And now we have something that I also wanted to point out, but a lot of people really don't get this right. Can you guys imagine what that is? The fourth bucket is relationship management. Because a lot of times, how do we manage relationships? What typically happens? You just maybe heard this. Did you reach out to connect? Did you ask follow-up questions? Did you care? Did you just kind of put it that as like, whatever, I'm just going to go to my daily operation and do just whatever I typically do? The reality is, comfort is maybe good for a moment, but doesn't get you at all where you need to go. And trust me, if I look at right now the percentage of my clients that are having personal problems in addition to their professional, you'll be amazed. And when wives or boyfriends or husbands will say, but they didn't change in less than 15, 20 years. Sound familiar? If change doesn't happen, what happens with those relationships, with those marriages? The same thing in a business. People are very quick right now to see who are the game changers, who are the real players, who exudes all of this, who breathes, eats, and constantly can infectiously, in a nice, positive way, influence others. Because that's where it comes. Influence based on not how well you can market yourself, but on the end, how bad product or service you have, but instead how well you are as a leader, as someone who has strong competency in one specific niche, and how do you drive results with that niche. More than ever, I used to be one of those, it's like I have too many tools in my toolkit and I'm good in all of them or most of them. But reality is like, what are you really, really good? What is my genius? But also, what is your genius over there, right? And one of the things that I also see that is missing in relationship management is seeking coaches and mentors. Not because I'm one, and I actually don't coach and mentor too many people to begin with. I'm a strategist. I'm also advisor. From there, magic happens that people naturally ask me, Izabela, now, do you mind helping me? I'm having this personal issue or professional issue, or I'm having issue with my teams. Can you help us out? That is not the main point and main focus, but always comes because people recognize I can learn something from this person. And at the same time, that's very obvious what that is. And that is where natural organic conversation happens. But every single one of us, even the best of us, have us bad days where we need external help, when we need to tap into somebody else's genius, whatever that genius it is, around healthcare, around, doesn't matter, a million different things could be, right? Depending which industry you're in and depending what kind of contributor you are in the professional world, as well as personal. One of the things that I'm also seeing that is lacking in relationship management, and it's coming over and over, is conflict management. Can't tell you how many times I'm seeing people giving very poorly feedback in front of everybody, or scolding other people and focusing too much on failure and errors instead of asking, what did you learn? If we're not positioning properly ourselves as the leaders and asking right questions and creating an environment and climate where other people feel, even if they fail, it's okay to fail because I learned something and I'm not going to make that mistake again. And I learned from that mistake. And guys, this is the mistake I learned. So please make sure you do not go my footsteps and find yourself in the same place. Wouldn't that be much more valuable? But guess what is required? Vulnerability. Emotional capacity, emotional intelligence that I was just talking about. If you don't have that, it's not going to happen. And that old cliche, fake it till you make it, and trying to just put yourself out there and be this or that, and not really being congruent and honest and transparent and real and truly genuinely you, it's not going to fly anymore. It doesn't fly already, but right now more than ever, it's coming true, guys. Everything we do, through tone of my voice, through gestures, through my energy, through my nonverbal verbal, go for it. Test it out and see what you can do. Because what that has to do with conflict management, people will know intention behind it with everything you do. When you choose not to speak, when you choose to speak, and then how do you speak to the team? How do you speak to that particular individual? You will be amazed how big shift happens very, very quickly. And one of the things that I'm also seeing very big, huge failure is, are you this inspirational leader in your enterprise? Specifically because it's your baby. How do you nurture your baby? With what do you put into that baby? Because on the end of the day, we can nurture baby with so many different things, and we can go radically left or radically right or radically north or south, doesn't matter. We can go in so many different ways, but the question is it resonating with your value and values of your team members? And how that translates into day-to-day operation and your method of operation and performance and your team buying. Okay. Which again brings the component of the teamwork. Frictions are insane right now, but they don't have to. They don't have to be. It's a choice. People that love drama, that love friction, that like to feel self-important, that throw their ego, guess what? They should not be leading. They should be working on themselves or taking and scale out less responsibility and different roles, or maybe be more behind the scene. Seriously. Because that damages your business more than you can possibly imagine, and definitely damage relationships. Because team element and teamwork, in order to really work, it requires so much more. And I want to make sure that you guys understand what that is. Because teamwork right now and team dynamics are, guys, very, very important for everybody to master. I will throw just extra bonus. I didn't plan to go this long, but I will throw extra bonus because somebody just asked me when I was conducting for 3 hours conference or impromptu conversation in room, and I had a Brits and actually a lot of guys from UK joining and sharing their perspective as well from other parts of the Europe, and as European transplant US, I could contrast also what's going on in US and other parts of the world, and we all of a sudden had insane team dynamics with diversity, with great inclusion, with great conversation, different points of view, and we created naturally, organically insane team dynamics. And I will tell you what they are. We had a shared purpose. We were vulnerable, we were open, we were willing to share our pain points, and when they share with me to find solution, but we find a solution collectively because 99% people like yourself already experienced that, including people like me and people over there on the left and on the right and top and the bottom. So if you don't ask and if you're not putting yourself out there vulnerably, you're going to be wasting your time. And more than anything, wasting time of everybody else. We also created, as I mentioned, number 2, trust and openness. So that was amazing. And as a result, we could go deep dive and created phenomenal value. Third was willingness to correct mistakes. I had somebody who misspoke on something, and I'm very familiar with that subject. specific around the behavior and specific around specific behavioral tests and how these tests can really pivot and help an organization, but also what the risks are, right? So, and they're like, oh yeah, I totally missed this piece and was completely fine. But what we learned from that mistake was amazing. And what we allowed others to learn, that is where the gold is, guys. Of course, the fourth was diversity inclusion, as I already mentioned. The fifth was interdependence and sense of belonging. They already asked Izabela where you're going to be doing this again. And the beauty is, because if you have the value, if they created environment that they feel all of these other items that I mentioned listed there, they wanted to be coming back. And interesting thing is, people are coming back in this environment that I created with another fellow from UK that was phenomenal yin and yang blend, because they don't have that in their own environment. They work for amazing enterprises, great brands, very well known around the world. I don't want to throw the names down because, again, I wanted to be respected of that. But point is, if people have that, all of the shared purpose, trust and openness, willingness to correct their mistakes and not be scolded, and diversity and inclusion and independence and sense of belonging, they will not have to have a need to go externally outside of those enterprises to find solution or look what other jobs or opportunities available, because they are throwing the towel. If that is happening, you have to revisit reason why. And number 6, I want to make sure you guys understand, is consensus of decision making. Hierarchy doesn't work anymore. If you guys did not notice, that will not get you for 2021 and beyond. Why businesses will not survive? Because if you still think in a hierarchical way, you are losing already. So shift the script. And then one piece that I see missing, I know we have as a leaders a lot to do. I know we can be busy and have so much on our plate, but unless we delegate, no excuse to not be participative leader. You have to participate. People should have access to you, if not on individual basis, at least on weekly or daily quick check-in in your office or whatever virtual environment you might be operating from. So those winning dynamics and characteristics, guys, will put you for tremendous success, as I was mentioning, on this sequence of the emotional and social intelligence. The leadership competencies are absolute must-have in order to create not only phenomenal teams and phenomenal organizations, but also partnerships and to attract great, great clients. So I hope you guys find some value. I will share a couple of visuals that I mentioned so that can help you out. And I will be doing these independent lives in blend every week, at least 1 or 2 with my guests, so that we can share more value and wisdom. Please drop the comment below, and I look forward to hearing from you. I'm seeing here Kelly, Arturo, Cooper coming on board, and actually I'm super glad that I saw some of your comments, guys, and I apologize. I kind of went to my own spiel here without paying attention of the dashboard, and I just really wanted to say I really appreciate you and dropping these questions and comments. So let's quickly, before we close this broadcast for today, cover any people around who prefer to communicate via text. Yes, I'm sure there are plenty, but that is kind of challenging and difficult to so many, right? Because text is very passive, but what people like is to hear the voice and be more dynamic, more active. So with technology that's available, guys, text is just like a first initial stage till you get to the phone or to a webinar or to the face and sound of somebody's voice. And as a result, when you get to that, as Antonio here saying hello from Italy, great to have you, sweetheart. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to just to say how important it is to also be in the place and mindset where you can truly also add the value, because bosses have been, specifically when you have a lot of team members, don't know all of your skills. But when you shine in these group settings, guess what? Your skill set comes to the light and shines through. So come on, champs, be brave, show it. I love what Theodore says. Yes, empathy, kindness, and compassion. It is the trifecta. Trust me. If you just try to focus on empathy and you're not also exuding kindness and compassion, you are not doing the full service and justice. And Theoretically and practically, it's truly impossible. In my opinion, I would love to have people to prove me wrong. Any people here? Let's see what Cooper has to say. Antonia had a question here. Good team is the key. Yes, for everything the great that happens, good team is the key. That's where we're gonna not have attrition. People will be not leaving. People will be performing, and most than anything, people will be supporting you. So you don't have to carry all the weight on your shoulders, right? So anyway, guys, if you find this useful after this live, watch it again. Check out the visuals that I will post. And what you would like to hear more, I will be happy to share next. Cheers, have a fantastic Monday, and I look forward seeing you guys on the next one. Cheers.